Hey, what's up, guys? Rideshare guy here, and I just got back from my 4-day trip to San Francisco, so I thought I'd record a video and tell you guys a little bit about what I did, all the people I met, and kind of a few key takeaways from the weekend. So, the main purpose of the trip was actually to head up. I wanted to head up and check out Groove Clubhouse in San Francisco, meet with their founder, Manny, and just kind of see how that clubhouse is working, how what type of interactions are getting, are drivers liking it, and then also the event was sponsored by Your Mechanic, so it was a good opportunity for me to go and meet one of my advertising partners. So I'm sure you guys know that I have a nice partnership with Your Mechanic, and I've gotten great feedback on them so far. So if you haven't checked them out, I definitely recommend that. And they actually sponsored this dinner for drivers. So it was pretty cool setup. It's actually at the Soma Street Food Park in San Francisco. That's where Groove Clubhouse is. They kind of just latch on to a little space in the back, and it's a shared space, but it's a nice spot for drivers to hang out and take a break. And I think it was cool that they had a few sponsors too. I think a couple of the companies that came were Zerks, which is a parking type valet type company, and then one other, Zesty, was a food delivery company. I think Automatic provided a few devices, and then obviously Your Mechanic. So plenty of sponsorship going on, and the event was completely free. They actually had some really awesome food. I was surprised. And I think it was from some Thai place. I think it was called Pan Noodle up in San Francisco. And they brought out a ton of food, all different types of vegetarian and beef and chicken and all that, salads and all that good stuff. So I definitely got a ton of food. Cool to see a few of Rideshare Guy readers out there. There are a few of you guys out there. I think I counted 5 or 6 out there. So big ups, big thanks to all you guys who came. I think Simon, Merle, and Rocco, Matt, and let's see, am I forgetting anyone? John, and I think there might have been 1 or 2 others. So if I forgot, call me out, and I should have done a better job writing down your names because I didn't remember. It was cool. So it was cool to meet a few of you guys in person, and I think a couple people came up to me and they're like, "Hey, Harry, it's me." And I was thinking, who the heck are these guys? Because obviously I get a ton of emails and Facebook. And so that's kind of how I know everyone, either through their email or their tiny little Facebook profile picture. And it's a lot different when you meet someone in person. I've even seen a couple of these guys, their pictures, but to see them in person is a lot different. So it was real cool to meet a few people in person, and I think going forward, I'm definitely interested in doing local meetups. So if that's something that you think would be cool or interest you, definitely leave a comment below and let me know what city you're in and what you think you'd like to do. If it's just a happy hour or a meetup, meet and greet and say hi, or if you think more value needs to be there. So I'm basically trying to experiment and think of what the best way to get people out, to get people to meet each other and interact, because I do think community is an important part of being a driver. And I mean, we don't get the everyday water cooler type interactions while we're out driving, so we have to go out of our way to make it happen. And I do think that was kind of one of the cool things about Groove. A lot of drivers, I mean, I'd say there are about 50 to 75 drivers there, so that was pretty cool. Some people brought their families, so it's definitely a family event. Now, the one thing I will say, I do think that it's a little bit tough because a lot of drivers don't live in the city, especially in San Francisco, for example. It's expensive to live in the city. I don't know if I could afford to live in the city if I lived there. In fact, I would probably live just south of the city, but where a couple of my buddies live. But so a lot of drivers on a Sunday, they're either out working or it's kind of a trek for them to come into the city. So for those who did came, I think that was really cool and really shows some good, motivation to kind of basically better themselves, meet some people, get out there and network. And Your Mechanic did have a master mechanic on hand that gave some cool tips about maintaining your car. So that was the main purpose of my trip, and definitely had a fun time out there. Again, big thanks, big ups to everyone, all my personal readers who came out and meet and greet with me. So that was definitely cool to meet some of you guys in person, and at least you guys seem like you enjoyed it. So if not, let me know. But after that, I actually, so I stayed with friends over the weekend. And so I just kind of moved around, hung out with some friends, but as far as actual business, so I did the meeting with Groove, and then I also met with Ryder from Sherpa Share. So You guys know that I'm a big fan of Ryder and what him and Jay-Z are doing over at Rideshare. They basically provide driver analytics, driver income tracking. And they've got a bunch of cool stuff in the pipeline. So I'll definitely be covering that in the next month or two with an article and maybe even some more YouTube videos. So I'll be helping them basically just announce some of their products, because I think what they're doing is really cool. Basically, what I try to do in general is just align myself with these companies like Gru and Share that are out there doing a lot for drivers. So it was definitely cool to meet up with these guys. Oh, I just remembered. I also met Zach Goldfine, who I actually had on the podcast. He was at the Groove Driver Dinner. He probably would have been mad at me if I didn't mention him, because I talked to him for a long time. But yeah, so they're definitely cool people in the industry. His company, he's got a little startup that's doing something for drivers too. So it's really cool that all these companies now are emerging that basically are very similar to what I'm doing, and in a good way though, because we're all doing something a little bit different, whether it's creating content or products, but we're all out there. We don't care about Uber and Lyft. We just want to help drivers, and we know that you guys need a support system, and you need help with this, and you need help with that. So those were the two kind of first business meetings. And then I had another little meeting with Manny. We discussed some stuff, see how we could work together, and I think they're definitely doing some cool stuff. So I'm excited for partnerships and possible collaboration there. I also had a meeting with a reporter over at Recode, who covers the ride-sharing industry, and that was cool to talk to her. I actually got to go up to their offices, which I think are right on the Embarcadero, and I think it's called One Market Street or One Market Plaza building, something like that. But it's funny because it's actually on a different street. So the building and the name it sounds like it's on a street, but it's actually on a different street. So I probably just confused the heck out of you guys. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'll do a better job explaining that someday. But anyways, we went up to, I don't know, the 30th floor, 27th floor, something like that. And they had an awesome view of the Bay Bridge, which I'm an idiot, and I actually thought it was a Golden Gate Bridge. Didn't realize that thing was red and on the complete opposite side of town. But luckily, the reporter, she corrected me and didn't make me feel too stupid. But yeah, so I had a good chat about just kind of what's going on in the industry. And I think it's always good to talk to reporters who don't necessarily have any vested interest. They do this for a living, and this is their job to cover this industry. And now, obviously, they cover more than just rideshare generally, but I think it was pretty fruitful conversation. We covered a lot of ground, and that was fun. My last meeting, and which also kind of wasn't really the main purpose of the trip, but once I set up the trip, I had some extra time, and so I connected with some people over at Lyft, and I actually went in for a tour, and I ended up meeting with some people, so I was able to express some driver concerns, kind of get a little bit of insight into what's going on at Lyft, and kind of just go down that road. So it's definitely cool to tour their offices and kind of see what's going on behind the scenes. I toured Uber back in December and met with a couple people. I think this tour with Lyft was definitely cool too. So that's kind of a wrap up of my trip to San Francisco. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you'd like to hear more about my business trips and the people I'm meeting with, definitely let me know. And like, comment, subscribe to my videos on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you might find me. And I'll look forward to talking to you more. All right, take care.